Hi.
You're on that side. You're supposed to do all that.
Oh, my apologies. Well, hello. Welcome to Helping the Brave. This is Amy Tiemeyer. I'm here with Ed Parcaut, and we are the hosts of Helping the Brave. Today we have a great person as a guest. We always have great people, but I'm excited to bring in Rich. Do you want to bring him in, or do you want me to?
Sure, I'll take care of it. Might as well. Doing everything else around here.
So,
How you
Rich,
doing, Rich?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Yeah. Is that LaMona?
LaMonica.
LaMonica? Okay. And you're the host of Misfit Nation.
Yes, the Misfit Nation show.
I didn't know if I had to say the show twice. That's why I didn't say
Good.
it. Okay.
very cool. So I always like to start off with the question of why you chose the service you chose, and it shows that you chose the U.S. Army. Good choice.
Definitely. So when I was a youngster, I guess, probably 3 or 4. I guess that's how old I was. I was sitting with my dad in the living room watching a 13-inch TV and watch it was either Vietnam or something going on in the Middle East with Israel or something, and seeing the soldiers fighting. And I always told my dad, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to join the Army just like you, Dad. He's like, oh, yeah, you can do that. Up until the point in junior year when I wanted him to come help me sign up for it because I was underage. And he said, no, enough of us have joined. So I took that as a, hey, you got to go to college moment. And I did not study for college. So I went to college, and I didn't like college. I played college football just so I could hit people instead of studying. And then I finally joined the Army.
Because you were old enough to do it on your own.
Yes. I was old enough to make the decision on my own.
So did you join as an officer or enlisted?
Enlisted. I only did 2 years of college total. I finally finished my degree the January before I retired. So 22 years to get my degree.
I was going to ask you how long in, but you already answered that one. So
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. What'd you do while you were in?
I was a MBC or CBURN NCO, so chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, high yield explosives, teaching soldiers how to survive on the battlefield in those conditions.
Wow. Did you use that when you got out of the service?
Not at all. I got out and I worked I took a complete year off. 365 days off, not by choice, just that no one would hire me. They thought I wanted more money than I was asking for, so they wouldn't hire me until the Mission Continues actually gave me a job, another veteran nonprofit. I worked there for 2 years as a fellowship program specialist and then a service leadership course, or whatever it turned into, until my former first sergeant called me and said, hey, I have a job on Fort Campbell. Do you want it? I said, yes. And then I asked him what I had to do. So I'd be teaching intelligence. So for a year, I taught intelligence, and now I teach emerging threats. I teach soldiers how to shoot down drones.
Gotcha. I didn't want to go all that way down there. I was just curious if you'd used it. So let's go back to your service. You retired out 22 years?
Yes.
Where did you go? All over the world, I assume? Where'd you
go? As far as duty stations, I started at Fort Stewart, Georgia, then went to Korea, to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, to Fort Riley, Kansas, to Anniston, Alabama, to Korea, to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and then Anniston, Aberdeen, Maryland, and 2 days back in Fort Campbell to retire.
Kind of stayed down in the South.
Yes, they kept me out of the North completely.
Did you deploy often?
4 combat deployments and then 2 operational.
Very good. Did you like what you did in the Army?
I loved
Yeah.
I loved what I did in the Army. I didn't really get to do my personal job a lot unless I was in the chemical unit. But the people I served with are awesome, and I would do it again. If I went back in time, I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
There you go.
That's usually one of our other questions. Would you change anything that you did?
Not at all.
I don't think I've had one person say yes. So
it's awesome.
Yeah. Because we are who we are because of our experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great. So an old question that we haven't asked, I think, for a long time. Is there anything that surprised you about your service? Like you had intended to go, but was there anything when you got to boot or basic training or?
I wouldn't say boot camp or basic training. I think it's when I got to my first unit, and I was full of piss and vinegar because I was, out of college, so I had a little more rank than everyone, and I had specialist rank on. So I thought I knew everything, and I quickly learned I knew nothing. was quickly told on a daily basis by my NCOs I knew nothing. So that was the thing I didn't expect right away. But it, I guess, molded me into the leader I became by their leadership style, teaching me from the ground up, breaking me down even more, and building me up to who I became.
So my son's in. He's in his second tour, and question. It's a totally different army.
Oh,
Yeah.
The soldiers I teach today, every day I go into work, I thank God that I made it out when I did. Because I'd probably be pulling out the last bit of hair I have now. Pulling it out.
I'm having issues with hearing him. How are you, Amy? You okay?
It's kind of breaking in and out.
How about now?
Much better.
Okay.
Yeah. Talking to those mics, so much better.
Yeah.
I had a question, but then I just forgot it.
He'll come back.
Oh, what year did you get out?
2015, June.
Okay. So then I have a question about when you were a junior in high school. What year was that?
1987.
Okay, that's interesting. So that was well before 9/11. I was thinking maybe when your dad had changed his mind.
Oh, no.
So your dad was in?
Yes, he was a tanker. He served at the same time as Elvis in 1958 to about 62.
Did he serve with Elvis, like in Germany?
Yes, he was in Germany with him at the same time.
Well, and then you said there's so many of us. Who else went?
My brother went in the Navy. My uncle was Army. My grandfather was Army. And then my mom's cousin, I guess my second cousin, he was a Marine, and we lost him in Vietnam.
I'm sorry to hear that. What'd your brother do in the Navy?
He was a boiler tech, I guess steam room operator.
It's a hot job.
Yes, it is.
I was in the Navy. That's not something that I would, I remember when I first went in there, like, be a boatswain, mate. You get to do all the jobs on the ship. Yeah, that's not something you want to do. You scrape paint all day. No, thank you. Give me the foreman. Yeah.
Money.
Yeah. No, because I went to my son's boot camp because I thought it was very important because my family didn't come to mine, all the graduations, everything. I thought it was important to go to those. And it's just, you see the people, it's just let's go out in town. And that's what you see. It usually was different when you were in. You either conformed or got out. Now it's like we're conforming to them.
Yes. I was talking to a young leader yesterday while I was out training his unit, and he said that point blank. He said, we used to be an army of teamwork. Now we're an army of individuals. So it's hard you have to break that mold to get your unit to actually operate.
And that's got to be much harder to do.
Yes.
So is that something you teach?
No, I just teach them fundamentals of how to survive on the battlefield. The other side of it, that's all. It depends on their leadership in their units now, their NCO corps and their officer corps, what they're being taught and how they can actually make them better as a team instead of as individualistic thinkers.
Amy, you were going to say something?
I was, but...
Start writing it down.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to write it down. Was there anything that you gave up that you're like, once you left the military, you're like, never going to do that again?
I don't think so. I gave up waking up early on purpose, but then I got a giant Labrador who wakes me up at 5 a.m. now every day, thinking he's going to die if he doesn't eat. So I still get up at the same time, and I stay up as late as possible, get little sleep, and just keep going do as much as I can.
All right. So how did you came to us through Travis Manion?
Yes, I'm the chapter lead for Clarksville, Tennessee.
And is that something you're in there, Amy? Travis Manion?
Yes, it is. I'm the regional lead of the Pacific Northwest. So you went, how did you get involved in Travis Manion?
Well, when I worked with the Mission Continues, I had 2 fellows that I mentored that actually did their fellowship with Travis Manion down in Houston. So that's where I got my first introduction to it. That was probably 2017, 18-ish. And then I just kind of stayed on the cusp of going between all the other VSOs. Whatever was in my area, I'd go hang out with. And then Chris Lancia came back here to Fort Campbell last year, and he asked if anyone would want to help start the chapter, and I jumped right in on it to get involved and get this community back involved with mentoring and teaching youth to become the next best generation.
Very cool. So tell us about your award-winning book.
13-Step Guide to Success. It won an award for Best Business Book for self-help in the self-help category. It's basically common sense steps to make yourself a better human. It has nothing to do with making money, nothing to do with making good business. It started as posts during the first year of COVID. Every month I would make this I thought was stupid post on Facebook to say, welcome to this level of Jumanji. You made it through that level, and now you got to do this. And my daughter, she was published right out of high school, she said, Daddy, you need to put that into a book. I said, okay, challenge accepted. And I wrote the book, and then the next December 20 of 21, I published it.
Nice. And then go for it.
Your show.
Yes.
When did you start your show?
Also during COVID. I got my master's from Georgetown in May of 2020. And I realized I had some extra time during my week. I had about 8 hours during the week I was not accounted for anymore. So I said, there's got to be something else I can do. I started listening to podcasts. I was listening to Marcus Luttrell and Joe Rogan and stuff. And I said, you know what? I could probably do a podcast. And I called some of my soldiers, said, can I use our platoon name? They said, yeah, go for it, Sergeant. So I did that. So I figured with 8 hours a week left, I could do that. So also January 21, I started the podcast.
And what's the show about?
When it first started, it was just to have veterans come on and tell their story, get that pressure off their chest so they'd stay with us a little longer. We wouldn't lose them to the darkness. But then they asked me to actually bring in experts to help them with other areas, like writing a book or becoming an entrepreneur, getting to Hollywood, getting to music, et cetera, et cetera. So tomorrow, my 307th episode will release.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, would you do it once a week, or?
I do 3 live shows a week and release 2 recorded.
Why not 3?
Because I do Tuesday, Thursday as my release days, and I added Sunday because the radio station that picked me up gave me a Sunday night slot. So now I have 1 in the bank in case someone misses.
Gotcha.
That's what everyone wants us to do.
Well, because we used to be twice a week. We used to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it just became too much with everything else I was doing. So, yeah.
Nice. So, do you have a story that you think when you were in the Army that was like your best experience of being in the Army? So whether it was a field problem or a duty station, or
I think my best experience was actually coupled with my worst experience. So I was in Korea and got my orders to go to Fort Campbell the second time, and when I got here, all the units were already gone, deployed to Afghanistan. So I met my unit over there 60 days after I got on ground here. I was in Afghanistan, and I met the first sergeant who gave me the job I have now, but he also said, just walk around the FOB and see what improvements you want to make. I said, okay. So I walked around, writing notes, thinking about security. Then he introduced me to 2 young sergeants, and they came up looking like pig pen, dust all over them. Said, this is Sergeant Wamhoff, this is Sergeant Beckerman, and they're going to be your 2 team leaders. I said, what do you mean? You're taking over this platoon. So I got this platoon of misfits. They were from all over the battalion, people that were just thrown in together from every company to become a platoon. So I had 32 guys and gals, and that was the best platoon I ever had. We accomplished every mission, the 120 patrols we did outside the wire. Rocket attacks stopped almost immediately once we started doing patrols. And once we built security, everything was awesome. But we did lose Sergeant Beckerman during the deployment.
So kind of like that movie, but they were all prisoners.
Oh, yes, with Charlie Sheen.
No, not that one. I'm talking way back in the 70s, where they go in and they get all I'll think of the name afterwards, but there's a movie about basically the same thing. They go in and get all the misfits of the people, and then they come and bring it to a platoon. They weren't supposed to survive, but they all went in and did the same thing and worked out. So
you should write it down.
I didn't think I needed it today. I didn't forget it because I knew it. I just don't remember it.
Yeah.
Jesus. I tell you.
Cool.
Okay, so what else do you have going on? So you have a podcast, you have a book. Are you going to write another book, or?
My second book is in publication right now. It's called Out of the Darkness. It's fictional book based on multiple people I served with, blending them into like 4 or 5 people together into each character, and then starts off with a soldier on a mountain at the end of a battle, just reminiscing on everything he's gone through and how he got there, and goes through the turmoil of getting out of service or at the end of service, losing that purpose and losing a mental capacity and having to reach out for help. Hopefully, it'll be out here within a week.
Oh, wow. Very cool. And then where do you sell your books?
My first book is on Amazon. That book will be on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, and I think Walmart as well.
Very cool.
And I'm pursuing my PhD right now through Liberty University.
Do you really have that much time?
I have about 1 hour left a week now.
So 8 hours a week you do podcasts and lives, and then what do you do in between that?
I got 40-hour work week. Some hours, some days, some weeks it's 40, some weeks it's all week, depending on the soldiers' operational status. So if they're in the field, we stay in the field. We go to the field with them every day, train with them, or I travel to other bases. But I bring my podcast stuff with me wherever I go and travel. I have my own travel kit and do that there. And then after that, I dedicate at least 2 hours a day to my studies, and then to the book. Now the book is done, so I can stop worrying about that until publisher says yes. And then podcast is at 7 to 8 o'clock, 3 nights a week, and then publishing about 2 hours a week. So it's not hard.
So it must help the fact that you're with soldiers to do your show about soldiers.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. It 100% does.
Because you must do a lot of your interviews with people that are around you that you meet, or
some I've met on post, and some I've met with my travels, but a lot I meet just via Facebook veterans groups. I say who wants to be on the show, and they reach out. Yeah, I'll do it. So my whole Veterans Week, the week of Veterans Day, I have the live show every night that week with different veterans I just met.
And you said on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, or just
3 Facebooks, my Twitch account, Twitter, and YouTube, and then About Face Radio.
What's About Face Radio?
It's a radio station that was founded by veterans, for veterans, and they asked me to come on there and bring my podcast. So they gave me 3 1-hour blocks a week, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Is that on the normal airways, or is that internet?
Internet radio.
I'm not knocking either way. I just wanted to know.
It's internet radio.
Yeah, because they reached out. Because I do radio for real estate and finance, and I was asked to go on a nationwide one to do the same thing. Yeah, so
that's nice. Are you going to do that?
Me? It's too much work. I already do for my radio show. I do 7 lives a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
8:30 every morning for a half hour, and then one at 9 2 days a week, and one at 11 2 days a week. So what is that? That's 9. Sorry, not 7. 9. Yeah. So I stay pretty busy with that, just like you know how it is, you know.
Yeah.
But luckily, there's so many softwares now to help you edit. So
yes.
AI
is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to explain to somebody they wanted to do I'm a president of my Rotary. I know this is about me right now, not you. I apologize. But they want to do a newsletter. I'm like, just bring a recorder in. They have this new app where you can record and then say who's speaking on it. I said, then you can just upload that in Cast Magic, and it'll do your newsletter for you.
Yeah. Did they take your advice?
Yeah, of course they did.
Of course they did.
Yeah, of course they did. We're all busy. Of course they're going to take my advice. You know what I mean? It's like, and one of the guys is like, oh, you know, he's older. He's like, what the shit? It's like, exactly. You have no idea what this coming, because just think that what we have right now is going to be quadrupled and whatever down in another year or so. So
yes, it's so easy. It's not hard stuff to work with.
No, the hardest thing is getting the right mic and good headphones.
Yes.
As he looks at me,
he still hasn't gotten them.
Yes. So I was going to ask a question. Or actually, I wanted Ed to share what his belief on the VA healthcare system is, just to hear.
Why don't you just tell him? Why do I have to share it? You know, so I was in the hallway. Yeah, I'm always in the hallway on the way to work and everything. But the other morning, and the lady was like, I was waiting for you to get out, to park and get out, because there was a sketchy person. Because, you know, I'm in California. We spent $20 billion for homeless and made it worse.
Imagine that.
Yeah, shocking. And so as we're walking, we're talking about stuff, and I told her we're vet and all that stuff. And before she was like, the VA system needs to go away. They should be able to go to any doctor they want. They should go to anywhere with. And I said, exactly. That's how I believe. I think there shouldn't be a VA system. I think there should be insurance that gets 100% coverage. They can take it to any doctor and be taken care of. They don't have to wait that way. So that's my take on the VA. It should go away.
Yeah, I have a VA SME coming on my show for a panel in a couple weeks, and
I'm not saying they're bad, but
I'm with you. My first 2 visits to the VA, I walked in, I thought I was in Zombieland, and seen guys and girls walking down the hallway with their heads down, just almost drooling on themselves walking. Then I go in, and the doc don't even look at me, looks at his computer, and just says, "Okay, I'm going to prescribe you all these medicines." I said, "You didn't even look at me, doc." "Oh, this is stuff I would take, so this is what I'm giving you." I said, "I'll see you later, brother. Have a good night." And I only go when I have to now.
Right. No, it needs to be we need to take care of our veterans better. We take care of migrants way better than we take care of veterans.
100%.
Well, and I when Ed shared the first time with me, that was just kind of mind blowing to think about. Like, you just would go to where everyone else goes, but have no co-pays and everything. And you think of the switch or the pivot in, if everybody who was hired by our VA system would then go get jobs in the civilian world, right? It's
probably not.
It would.
They probably wouldn't be able to be in the civilian world.
Well, possibly, but theoretically, that's what would happen is
theoretically, but not the best doctors work for the VA, not the best nurses work for the VA, not the best MAs work for the VA. Because if they could make more money, they would be working somewhere else.
Sure, but they would still most likely be doctors and nurses and even data entry people and different things like that. So finding the doctors that work well with you would just be different. Like I don't have, I don't have the ability to pick my VA doctor. I'm assigned a VA doctor. And so unless I have a problem or make a really big stink, I just have who I'm assigned. And it changes however it changes. So anyhow, I just thought it was a really interesting idea.
It shouldn't be an idea anymore. It should be done. It should be that way, period. It would take care of us veterans much better to go to that. To be able to go, just think about it, you could go to Kaiser, you could go to we have Medi-Cal, Medicare, all those things, and there's no co-pays on that stuff.
So yeah, anyhow, I just thought I like to bring it up just because I like to hear what other people think about, or if they'd even heard anybody talk about it. But
I've heard that argument from many of my guests. A lot of my special operators that come on here talk about that all the time. And one thing I can say here, our doctors in Nashville actually are good doctors because most of them are from Vanderbilt. So they just cross the hall from Vanderbilt to the VA. But you don't get those doctors up here in the local community. You get the doctors that don't get down there, like you're saying. And like your question about where would they go, if they're young doctors, they'll probably wind up in the military being doctors in the military.
Well, it's that old joke. What do you call somebody who graduates medical school with a 70?
The doctor.
That's right.
Still a doctor.
Yeah. So 30% of the time they're going to get it wrong.
It happens. When they left shrapnel in me when they did surgeries, it happens.
Yeah. I mean, there's good doctors and a lot of that. I'm not saying they're all, but some of them, I mean, there's a reason that certain nurses go to nursing homes is because something happened at a regular hospital and they can't get that stuff anymore. And that's why they're in nursing homes. And so like I said, my wife works at Kaiser. We have that insurance. The difference with Kaiser is an insurance company that owns hospitals, where you have other hospitals who take insurance. So, I mean, there's just so many different ways of doing it. And I like the Kaiser way. So there's got to be a way to do this.
Yeah, I don't know where that would generate from, though. That would be
we've thrown enough money elsewhere.
It'll take a bureaucratic shift for it to happen.
Yeah. what we need is more veterans to be in politics, period. That's when it's going to happen. So everybody who's a veteran out there, if you're listening to this, you need to get in your local politics and work your way up, because it needs to make a change. And the only way to make a change is through schools, and then slowly changing everybody's mind, because that's what they did for the last 15 years.
Yep.
To make it this way.
Yep.
And I can tell you that because I'm in California. So.
Yes. I have a lot of your old neighbors.
If you
here
don't like what California does, don't worry about it. You'll have it before you know it.
I have 4 of your old neighbors here in my neighborhood now. So.
Well, see, where I live is a little different. It's in the Central Valley. We're totally different than the rest of the coastal people. Okay. But, there's just not enough of us to make a difference. We need to split California into 3 states, and then we'd be okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. I thought the earthquake was going to do it soon enough, but not yet. All right. We kind of got off topic a little bit. We just had one 2 days ago. I was like, nope, the elites are still here. Coast is still there.
Dang it.
No, it's trying. It's really trying. It's pushing some houses in the ocean, but it's going to take time. All right. So what's next for you besides a PhD?
Second book.
So you're doing that. Somebody has to say, doctor.
Doctor. Yeah, so my wife has to call me doctor. Yeah, that's what. I actually went for it because one of my professors at Georgetown said this is as far as I should go. So I said, okay, I'm going to take that challenge and go further. And I applied and got accepted, and here I am. So I'm in my process now of starting my dissertation defense and stuff. So almost to the tail end of my education career. After this, I'll probably consult with Homeland Security with that degree, keep the job I have now, so it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And continue to mentor and help others here within Clarksville, Tennessee.
Do you get along with civilians well?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious.
At
first,
he
doesn't get along with anyone.
I was standoffish at first. I didn't trust a lot of them, and it's for good reason. Some of them are not trustworthy, but there are some out there that are genuine people, and they're good to be around.
No, because your statement with they said this, so that's why I did this.
Yes.
Your other statements, the way you said the other thing, you're definitely a vet, very direct. And this is, you tell me I can't do it, or you don't think I can do it, I'm going to show you I can do it. So
exactly.
That's why I was asking if you get along. Yeah, or I should say, do you put up with them well? Yeah.
That's the thing. I do put up with them very well.
All right. What else do we want to talk about? If you ever need anybody on your show, let me know.
Okay, definitely.
Same.
All right.
Anything else you want to share about your time in the service?
Like I said, I had a great time in service. I think the thing that I learned the most about was my last deployment. I went into that like negative Nancy, because most of my friends who died were on their 3rd or 4th deployment. This would be my 4th deployment. I was going to get embedded with Afghans, and it'd be 12 of us, 300 of them. I just kept telling my actual platoons, look, I'm not coming back, so make sure you do everything right. And one of my young sergeants, Chantel Watts, said, look, Sergeant, this isn't you. Get your head out of your butt and get out there and fight. And it still didn't resonate until 2 days on our fire cop, a mortar hit behind me, tore through the back of my leg and out the front, and that was my wake-up moment. That's what it took to wake me up and keep me. That propelled me into a purposeful life and a positive mindset for the rest of my life now.
Wow.
You're good.
So you have a disability, I assume, taken care
yes.
of. Yeah. And you also do all this other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Were you married during your time in the service?
Almost the entire time. So we're married. It'll be 30 years in May.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
The best thing is you're still married when you came home. That's the best thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Most of the time, that's when it's over.
When I was a E6 or staff sergeant, we used to joke because I was the only one that still had the same wife, the first wife. Most of them were either on number 2 or 3 or divorced again the 3rd time. Right. I was the only one. I was the anomaly.
Yeah. And so when I was in college in California, when I'm getting my bachelor's, my instructor said, this is what we say in California. My first wife.
Yeah. And I think everyone, all the veterans in my office are on the 3rd right now. So.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it takes the 3rd to make it happen.
where you
For the
just
second.
you're a lucky person that you both worked with it and it was, worked through things. So
I told Amy earlier, she loves me all the time, doesn't like me all the time. So.
yeah, I get that. Not you, my wife. Okay, I get that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the easiest to live with, neither is she. So,
Shocking.
Shocking.
About her? Yeah, I know. It is shocking about her. Yeah.
I think there's a country song, Hard to Love.
Well, I do drive a truck and have a dog, so I guess I could write a country song. So,
Definitely could. Definitely could.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's really nice to meet you, Rich.
Nice to meet you guys too. It was awesome being on here.
Yeah. Nice to be on the other side instead of running it sometimes.
Yes,
right?
It is.
Yeah. When I'm on other people's, it was funny. I was on this one, and then afterwards, the guy goes, "You made me so nervous. I've never been nervous before." I'm like, "Really? I'm just talking,
just chatting with you."
Yeah. I think it's just I've been on radio for 5 years now, over 5 years, and then and after that, from day one to day 360, the next year you change, the next year you get better, the next year you get better, the next year you get better, you go back to every year and you're like, holy crap, that's horrible. Right? I mean, it takes time to get easily to talk to people and not have a problem, and that takes time.
Definitely. I go back to my first episodes, they were just recorded in my Jeep while driving, so I know those were horrible, but I still put them out once I did them. It gradually got better.
Do you do a lot of yours in the studio, or do you do them in everywhere?
I do most of mine in my little home studio here, but my guests are remote like I am with you right now. But I take my studio everywhere I go. I worked in Nashville, NASCAR race here. I had a portable mic with me, doing interviews down there at the track and hanging out there, and had my press credentials, so it was awesome to have access to everything on the track. And every hotel room I get, it becomes my studio as well.
When you were at NASCAR, were you there for any of the veteran vehicles, or just to see everybody because you like NASCAR?
To see everyone because I like NASCAR.
Okay. Cool.
All right. I was just curious because I'm not in. I don't like doing that. So
it's good time.
Yeah.
To me, my ex-husband watched a lot of NASCAR, and it's like the last 2 minutes are it. Like the whole thing changes in the last few minutes. So
in some races, yeah. In some, it all ends in the first 2 laps. So everyone wrecks out in the first couple laps.
You did hear that, right? Her first husband.
Yes, I heard that. She's a veteran too.
Well, a lot of people get married really young.
Yes.
And those are the ones that usually don't make it. Did you get married later while you were in? I don't know how old you are, but you said 30 years. So
I was 23 when I got married. She was 18 or 19-ish. She just turned 19.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's usually the ones that don't make it.
Yeah, we were told we wouldn't make it because we weren't right for each other, but we took that challenge too.
You're just doing it just to tell everybody you're still doing it, damn it.
Hell yeah.
Told you.
Told you so.
All right. I'll take us out. All right, Rich, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I appreciate it.
Everybody go help Rich. Go check his show, the Misfit Nation Show. And you can find that anywhere you have podcasts, correct?
Yes, and YouTube, it's at @the_Misfit Nation.
It's what now?
@the_Misfit Nation.
Oh, gotcha. On YouTube, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. All right, but they can Google. They'll be able to pull it up.
Yeah, if it's one word, it's mine. If it's 2 words, it's a rap show.
Really?
Yes. You'll know right away if it's not me.
Okay, because you don't rap?
Not no more, no. I gave that up as a youth.
All right, everybody, make it a great day. Thanks for being here. Amy, thanks for being here. Rich, thanks for being here. And I want to thank you for watching and for listening to this. And the best thing you can do to support us is subscribe to our YouTube channel. And again, that's Helping the Brave. Again, thank you so much for both of you being here, and make it a great day.